Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. We are moving through the month of November. We've had some awesome weather this week. It's still, nice out there. It's a little cloudy tonight, but as usual, we're heating things up in here with an awesome guest, another musical guest. They just keep flowing off like an assembly line in a car blaze, and we love it. But before we get to her, I got to get these wonderful underwriters. We got some new ones tonight. We got a few, so we got to read them off, and they're awesome, and we'll get to her in a few seconds. But first, here we go. We got to read them off. So we got a new one, Hermes Auto Sales in Taunton. We got A1's Tire and Auto Center in Brockton. We got another new one, MPA Racing in at 251 Broadway in Taunton. We got Brighton Tire in Brockton. We got Sweezy Fence Erectors in Whitman. We got MDI Auto Brokers and Repair in Whitman, home with the fully certified used car. We got Chanel Performance Auto and Truck in Bridgewater. We got John's Greenhouses and Florist Shop in Brockton. We got Comfort Upholstery in East Bridgewater. We got Lynch's Towing Auto, Cycle and Truck Center in Brockton. Two numbers, one for towing, one for projects. We got Middleborough Barbering in Middleborough. We got Joe's Diner in Taunton. We got Zachary's Breakfast and Lunch Restaurant in Stoughton. We got UBG Airsoft and Laser Tag in Bridgewater. We got Big Lee's Automotive in Abington. We got Doggy Boutique, Albury Professional Grooming in Brockton, run by my great next door neighbor, Debbie Siddell. We got C&J Auto Body, Glass and Towing in Stoughton. We got RJ Auto Sales in Raynham. We got Easton Fitness right here in the Village Shops in Northeastern. We got Royal Pizza in Raynham. We got Speedy Oil Change in Abington. And we got T. Martini and Sun Floor Covering in Abington Home when no job is too big or too small. And I want to thank you guys very much. And on that note, now I will introduce this lovely guest. This is Julie Kinshak. She's a musician. She's a writer. I guess she's working on a book. And she's going to perform for us tonight during intervals of the show. But before we start that part of the show, we're going to talk to her and find out what's going on, how she got to where she's at. She was actually recommended to me by Rebecca Harold, the wonderful keyboardist for the Boston Ballet and singer that I had a few weeks ago. And now you're here. And Julie, thank you for coming in and being on Topic Time with me tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Harrison. And Rebecca is a wonderful musician. And thanks, Rebecca, if you're seeing this, for recommending me.
Sure she is. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about your history now. We talked on the phone the other day, and you told me that you're writing a book.
I am.
Okay, now we'll get to the book in a minute, but I want to find out what you were like as a kid, where you grew up, and how it
Sure.
got you to where you're at now. And then once we establish a pattern between that and what you're writing about in the book, then we'll cover the book and
Sounds good.
take a look at the cover because it's not done yet. But start with what I just asked you, and then if I have any questions, I'll interject them. So go for it.
Well, sure. Well, I was really blessed to be born into a very musical family.
Okay, where?
In Ithaca, New York.
Okay,
Upstate New York, yep.
Okay.
Cornell Country, right?
Three Stooges did some films up there.
A lot of people did films. Like
I
there
know
was
that.
Tarzan films in our gorges and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad I'm glad I mentioned
It
that.
was
Okay.
sort of the original where they had silent movies, where they had
Yeah,
a lot,
right. Way
Yep.
before Hollywood, about
Yep.
100 years ago.
Yep.
Before Hollywood took over as the movie capital of the universe. But
Yep.
all right, so you grew up in a musical family.
So I grew up in a musical family. My dad, Paul, sang opera
Wow.
in local operas, but he was also
Just goes to show you don't have to be a fat lady to sing opera.
not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
Nice rich baritone.
Just like one of the tenors.
Well, no, not a tenor. It's a baritone.
Oh, that's right. It's
Low
a difference.
voice.
There's a
It's
difference.
got a low
Lower.
voice.
Okay,
Yeah.
even better. Okay, go on.
But anyway, so Dad did that, but he was actually a minister also
Okay.
at a local church, and Mom used to write poetry and did photography. Very creative person.
Fastidiously, and I got you.
And she and Dad used to sing in musical theater in college, so they sort of had that growing up, hearing them singing songs together. And my older brothers, Gary and Chris, one's a bass player, one's a drummer,
Okay.
and they played in bands. And so little sister Julie came along with her guitar, started playing guitar around age 9,
Okay.
and started writing my own songs right then, as soon as I started, because they were bursting out of me. I always loved to sing.
How old are you? 9, you said?
9 years
Wow.
old, yeah.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool because from there I was very prolific. I wrote lots of songs as a kid, and I ended up singing for the I Love New York campaign.
Oh, wow.
And I used
that was
to,
in the 70s, right?
Yeah, it
It
was,
was.
the
I
70s.
remember when those commercials came out.
And I used
I have to
to.
believe you're old enough to have been doing that in the 70s. But that's,
Okay, I'm dating myself. Oops.
yeah, well, it's okay. I'm dating myself too.
But yeah, so they used to do this musical theater show at the national parks, and then they would introduce me, and I would come in and sing a few of my original songs. After they did Barry Manilow's "I Write the Songs," and then I'd come in and I'd sing some of my own songs. I was like this little star.
What was Barry Manilow actually performing?
No,
Okay.
no. The show did it, but so I did a lot as a kid. But I also was really serious about gymnastics, and I wanted to go to the Olympics. So a lot of times I didn't have much time to rehearse with other people, and so pretty much everything I did was a solo.
You wanted to compete in the Olympic gymnastics. Were you a gymnast?
I was.
Okay, in high school and before that?
Actually, before I started,
Okay.
the same time I started playing guitar, I started doing gymnastics,
Wow.
and I got into advanced competition, but I didn't ever make it to the Olympic team. So.
Okay. Well, that's all right. I mean, most people don't, so
Yeah,
it's nothing to
yeah,
be
yeah.
ashamed of.
But anyway, so as a result, I didn't have much time to rehearse with bands and stuff. So most everything I did was as a solo until I quit gymnastics and got into a sort of a folk band
Okay.
in the late '70s, early '80s, and went to Europe and traveled around
Wow.
playing my guitar.
Okay.
And almost got picked up by ABBA's former producer, Alan Gillan. No, not Alan Gillinson.
Well, don't worry about the
Richard
name.
Gillinson.
That's incredible.
Richard Gillinson.
Okay.
But that didn't happen, so I came back and went to college and
Where'd you
studied
go to
jazz.
college?
And I started at Oberlin Conservatory.
Where's that? States also New York?
That's near Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, it's in Cleveland.
Yeah, near Cleveland.
Yeah, it's in Ohio,
Oberlin.
okay.
Yeah, but they were mostly a classical conservatory, and they had a little jazz.
Okay.
And I put together a jazz group there, and the tenor, speaking of tenor, in my jazz group, he said, Julie, you would love Berklee College of Music in Boston.
Okay.
And so I came here for a summer, and then I ended up transferring here, and I graduated from Berklee in the mid-'80s. So,
Wow.
so I've been here ever since, kept thinking I would move to Nashville because I did country for a while, or LA or somewhere, but I'm still here. I love Boston, and
Boston, you're my home.
I've done everything from playing in cover bands, playing like Madonna and Whitney Houston back in the '80s, to
Wow.
doing all kinds of jazz gigs, to country music for a little while. But sort of I've always been playing my own kind of folky, jazzy thing with my guitar all the way
warming
through.
up, that's what it sounded like. But it sounded like you had a little, like almost a little opera voice of your own going on in there, like a high. What do they call that? What's a high voice in opera?
Soprano.
What is it?
soprano,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what you were singing a little of back there.
Well, I mean, I'm trained. I'm a trained singer.
Okay.
And I teach voice too, and we'll talk more about that with the book. But,
Okay.
I love to sing, and I try to do it well. But I've sung in so many different situations, and I have an a cappella group that does Christmas carols
Okay.
professionally, the Harmony Jewels, and I've been in jazz bands and rock bands and all this. But sort of the big thing that kind of made a big turn in my music happened in my late 20s when I came to a faith.
Came to which? A faith?
Faith, a really strong faith in Jesus, because
Okay.
even though my dad was a minister, I really went the other way. I was totally not in it at all. And
Okay.
I had some big changes, lost my voice and my band fell apart, my life fell apart.
Things were kind of going downhill for you, and then you put your faith in Jesus. Is that it?
I did,
Okay.
and so now everything I write has, the underpinning of my faith.
Okay.
Some of it's more in your face Christian music, and some of it's just positive, good, hopeful stuff, love songs and stuff. But all of my music comes from that place of my faith.
Okay, good. Okay, no, I mean it sounded wonderful. So how did this relate to a book that you're writing now? Was that what the book's about mostly?
The book is called Vocal Training for Praise Singers.
Okay, for what sinners?
Praise singers.
Prayed?
So, praise. Praise. Praise.
Praise or praised? Like praise past tense or praise present tense? What is a praise sinner? Define that.
Okay, a praise singer.
Oh, singer.
Singer.
Not sinner.
Not a sinner.
All right,
singer.
tell you what, hold up. Tell you what, we're 10 minutes through the show. I want you to get up, please go up on stage, perform something, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what a praise singer is.
Sounds good.
Okay,
All
so
right.
without further ado, Julie's going to go up and perform for us, and enjoy it.
Speaking of songs coming from my faith, I wanted to sing a song which is really my favorite song from my last album. The album was called Let My Light Shine. It's this one right here.
Okay.
But my favorite cut from the album, I like the title cut, but is a song called You Are. And it's really just, it's a love song to God. That's what it is, with a little jazz in the middle. So those of you who are not used to hearing jazz in any kind of a worship context, just think about that as a time of meditation. Or maybe I'm singing in tongues, I don't know. Here we go. You are color, you are light, you're the stars that light the night sky. You are music, you are love, you're the beauty almost passed by. You're that gentle winter snowfall, you're that balmy summer breeze, the view atop a mountain stretching out magnificently. You're in every direction, you are high and you are low. You're that voice deep down inside me, and you're everything I know. You are rapture, you are teardrops, joyous laughter in an old man. You are children, cuddly kittens, you're the power that runs my minivan. You're that hope that keeps me going, solid earth beneath my feet. You're the truth that gives me confidence in promises so sweet. You're protecting me from danger, you sent angels to my aid. You have seen my unformed body so wonderfully made. Yeah. You are mercy, sweet forgiveness. You're the only source of true grace. You are wisdom, you are challenge. You never give me more than I can face. You're that gentle, quiet answer I must listen to obtain. And you're generous beyond wonder when I ask it in your name. You're in every direction. You are high and you are low. You're that voice deep down inside me, and you're everything I know. You're that voice deep down inside me, and you're everything I know.
Great job. So that was a tribute to, you know, Jesus, and also the highs and lows of life as they come. But it was very well orchestrated, like in a jazzy, soft, mellow kind of easy listening form. Nat, which is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
It's definitely original. I mean, you know, I've heard Christian rock before, but I guess I wouldn't consider that Christian rock. I'd consider it just, you know, just easy listening.
Inspirational jazz.
Yeah, that'll work. Sure.
Or folk jazz with a little, you know, inspiration's always in there.
Do you perform in churches?
I do. I perform in churches. I have sang at Catholic churches as well,
Okay.
but not my original stuff. That's been more for like weddings and funerals.
Oh, I
But,
see. For funerals too, huh?
Well, I do all kinds of cover stuff. I mean, you got to make a living, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, I do all kinds of hymns and folk songs and whatever people want, you
Okay.
know, for funerals and weddings and coffee houses
Yeah,
and
yeah.
benefits
Okay.
and
You travel all over the country and the world. You said you went to.
I traveled all over Europe playing,
yeah.
right? And I actually went back to Germany for, I call it sort of mini missions tour.
Okay.
No, it wasn't last year, it was 2018.
Okay, 2 years ago. Yep.
And along the way, I've had a bunch of almosts. You know, like I told you about
Yeah, I know
ABBA's
the ABBA
producer,
producer.
but also, you know, almost got picked up by Warner Brothers. Was chosen most promising songwriter in 1991 by National Association for Songwriters in New York, and all
Okay,
these
wow,
things.
that's
But all
a pretty
these,
big honor.
but all these things sort of never really came to any massive fruition. So what I've just learned to do is, you know, how to just make a living doing what I love. I'm so grateful.
And you know what?
I
Eventually,
get
you're
to
going to
do
reach a
that.
pinnacle. But I think in life, like, you know, in a situation like yours, if someone as creative as yourself, eventually, you know, it's the fact that you love what you're doing is awesome. But I think at some point you're going to reach a pinnacle that you never saw coming, and it's going to be a glorious moment for you.
That would be a beautiful thing.
I expect it'll happen. I think possibly being on my show will somehow lead to it. But that, you know, there's my ego talking. I admit it. That's part of the deal.
Love it, Harrison. Totally love it.
Thank you. I do too. Well, let's talk about this book of yours.
Sure.
As we were
Okay,
discussing,
vocal
you started
training.
to talk about, but tell me more.
Sure. Vocal training for praise singers.
Praise singers,
And,
got
and
it.
what that means is it's a vocal training book. It's a book about, you know, learning to sing better.
Okay.
I am a voice teacher also. That's, you know, a part of my income,
Right.
part of my living. And I do workshops for churches in addition to individual students.
Okay.
And because of the many years now that I've been singing in church situations, whether in a cappella or with Christian rock bands or in choirs, I've conducted choirs, I've, you know, arranged music. I've done children's choirs, I've done all these things, and I'm like, okay, how can I put all these things together to really be a useful manual for people who want to sing to help bring people to the throne of God? And so my book is not only, I mean, it's got over 80 voice exercises in it, so it's got a lot of very practical things for helping you to sing better, dealing with your breath support and your vocal anatomy and your vocal health, and, you know, how to navigate your high voice and your low voice, your transitions, all kinds of things, harmonizing. But it's made specially for the audience of people who are, you know, singing for God. So it winds in some scripture and, you know, things that we have to deal with in our hearts when we're trying to be an artist, and the temptation to want to go after fame, as you know, and to keep your integrity through that, and to avoid the pitfalls of pride and envy and jealousy, and, you know.
I'm going to ask you a blunt question.
Sure.
Do you feel that did you feel that God has reached out to you, you know, and kind of, you know, with all that bad stuff that was happening before, to try and turn you in a different channel, you in a different direction? And the reason I'm asking is because I got to tell you something. I've been accosted by people that have told me that God wants me to change. You know, all right. So I'm just wondering if you had a similar experience, and if you don't want to answer that, that's fine. But
I'm happy to answer. I don't think I had like one experience where I had like I didn't
Well,
have,
I mean,
I
it
didn't
doesn't
have a
have to be one, it
vision.
could be a
I didn't
series
have
of
like
them.
a vision or anything like that.
Okay.
But I did have what you want to call a confrontation with truth.
Okay.
Because I've always, even long before I was a person of faith, have wanted to use my music for positive ways, whether to support causes that, you know, help
Right, but you weren't
abandoned children or
always a
whatever.
religious singer until.
No.
Okay.
But see, so what happened was, during this time when my fiance ditched me and I had nodes on my vocal cords and couldn't sing and my band fell apart, all these things happened. That time my ex-fiance started to study the Bible with some people, and he
Okay.
really changed the way he treated me, and it moved me.
Okay,
And
in a good way, I hope.
In a good way,
All
you know.
right, good.
I mean, what's going on with him? I've been trying to help him to change his attitude for years, you know.
Okay.
And now he's really changing. He's apologizing to me and things, and so I went to the people who were studying the Bible with him, and I said, "What is that all about?" And they said, well, maybe you got to look at it yourself and see what it means. And so I started to study the scriptures.
Okay.
And it was that, like, the scriptures are like a mirror. When they come up to you, you have to look at yourself, and you have to make decisions about what you believe is true.
Okay, because I've read the Bible, and some of the things I've read, look, it's kind of unsettling, but, you know, that's why, I'd be honest with you, I have a hard time finding comfort in dogma right now, only because based on what, my own experience. But that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that couldn't change.
Well, it's not about dogma for me. It's about, once I came to a faith that it was true, it was about a relationship.
Okay.
A relationship with God.
Gotcha.
And then from then on, it just springs from there. But, I do feel, I guess, on a mission. My mission is to help people have hope.
Okay. I'll tell you what, on that note, play something else. Go up there, and it's time for the second song.
All right.
All right, so without further ado, it's Julie again, and another song. Another great one, just like the first one.
All right. So now that I've been talking all about my faith, I'm going to do something that's a little different, actually.
Okay.
This song was actually sort of my biggest hit up to this point. It's a love song, and I call it the coffee song. And I got to play it on a zip trip that Fox 25 was doing at Billerica a number of years ago.
Well, congratulations! I love watching that.
Yeah, that was a blast. The song was also number 47.
Zip trip on Fox 25 to Topic Time. What a great leap, and from something great to something greater.
There you go, man.
Okay.
But the cool thing was I was also sending this song out through international promotion to a lot of radio stations around the world, and it actually got on the charts in Austria.
Wow.
And so that's kind of cool too. But anyway, the song is called Coffee Song, and it comes.
Is in the beverage coffee?
The beverage coffee.
Okay.
Do you like coffee? Anybody out there watching? Do you like coffee? All right.
Okay.
After
this.
And I wrote this song when my husband and I were just kind of starting to like each other, but we weren't actually even dating yet. And then I wrote this and gave it to him on a cassette. That dates me a little more. And it kind of sped up the process. I think you'll see why.
Okay.
All right. There's something here brewing, and it isn't just the coffee, boy. Because you're giving me a cup of joy the cats can't spill. Oh, 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 no, sweet and low. The sugar is as real as can be, and it's pulsing in my bloodstream, better than my morning kick of caffeine. And it's going down smooth like a sweet cup of coffee au lait. And it's romantic as a river in France, where you're washing my heart away. Oh, hold off on the espresso, 'cause babe, I think I'm getting a buzz. 'Cause honey, I think we're falling in love. Bass. One, two, three. There's something here brewing, and it isn't just the coffee, boy. Let's hear it for the band. All right. Because you're giving me a cup of joy the cats can't spill. Oh, 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 no, sweet and low. The sugar is as real as can be, and it's pulsing in my bloodstream, better than my morning kick of caffeine. And it's going down smooth like a sweet cup of coffee au lait. And it's romantic as a river in France, where you're washing my heart away. goes, baby, I think we're falling in love. Whoa, whoa. Yeah.
Wow. Back on you. That was wonderful.
I just got to say before I leave this spot right here, that one is on my Grace with Jazz on Top album. Anyway, there you go. And you can always learn more about my albums at julieksings.com. Yeah. All right.
Well, the way you improvised the percussion and the kazoo with nothing, that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen any musician do.
Well, I got to tell you something.
You're a one-person band here.
Sometimes. You had Rebecca on this show before, and I have Rebecca to thank actually for my vocal trumpet is what I call that, because I used to be in a group with her called Faith in Action.
Okay.
And,
that's how you met her, I guess.
Actually, I met her in church.
Oh, good.
Then we came together in this a cappella group, Faith in Action, which was kind of a cappella gospel jazz.
Okay.
And anyway, we were doing one of her songs called It Ain't Right,
okay,
which is an awesome song. It's actually on this Faith in Action album. We were messing around, and I did this vocal trumpet solo, and she's like, you should do that on the gig. And I was like, okay. And so I did, and it became kind of a thing. People would always ask for the trumpet. And so I said, well, I got to put it in one of my own songs that I use in my solo repertoire. So I threw it into the coffee song, and it's been kind of become a thing also, the whole trumpet thing.
Well, that was amazing. I don't know. I'm still a little confused about where coffee comes in, but I guess that doesn't matter. I enjoyed the song.
Well, if you listen to the words, there's something here brewing, and it isn't just the coffee boy.
Okay, well, it sounds more like a love song.
Oh, it is.
About people having coffee together and falling in love. That's what I got out of it.
You got it, man. You got it.
Okay, so you made the point. It was wonderful. Well, guess what? We're down to the final 5 minutes of the show.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, that's good because we had an awesome show. So what I want you to do, like I said at the beginning, is give shouts out to people that are going to see it, because a lot of them are, and then we'll condense them and then we'll wrap the show up.
All right. Well, I want to give a special shout out to my husband, Ralph Kinshek, who is also my producer, my keyboard player on all of my albums except for the a cappella album, obviously. And to my brothers, Chris Gibbons and Gary Gibbons, who play bass and drums on my albums. John Vicari, who plays lead guitar, and Jim Peterson plays lead guitar on a lot of the stuff. Jim Caffarella, who is in my a cappella group, which right now is looking for Christmas gigs if you need some carolers, but he also sings background on a lot of this stuff. So just want to send a couple of those shout outs, and of course to Rebecca Harold for inviting me on this here, and maybe Neil Merrick Blackwood if you see this too, and just my kids, Caleb and Hannah, love you guys. Mwah.
Awesome, that was good. That was a sweet tribute to everybody. Well, I hope you had fun with me.
Definitely, this was great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. So just before we wrap the show up, like I ask all my guests, if you know anybody else that's in the music industry or has an interesting story to tell that I haven't had on the show, you got my digits, have them text me, we'll get them on as guests. I tell people I get 98% of my guests through Facebook, the other 2% from word of mouth, and it's a big 2%. And that's when, if you know people that are, that might make great guests for me.
Sure, I'll give that a thought. And
well, just if in passing, whatever. All right. Well, great job with the masks too, making them.
Can I mention this? I've also got some. We all have to wear masks, right? But it's kind of cool that you can get one that supports an artist. Why not? Artists are having a hard time right now. Support an artist.
Hold up your shirt too, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Yeah, and we also got a T-shirt, a Grace with Jazz on Top T-shirt. Also, they're all on my website on julieksings.com.
Okay, well, are you ready to wrap it up as we began it?
Yes,
All
let's
right,
do
folks, thanks. I hope you enjoyed another great episode of Topic Time. More next time. See you next time, and have a good one. Take care.
Do you mind if I
There you
jam
go.
a little bit?
Double vocalize it till today. I love it.
Harrison.
Yeah.